But he's played the Yone already, and he's played Syndra as well. Pretty diverse there, but still pretty interesting, exciting champions to watch. And even Jakey, Lee Sin's very meta right now. Not in the jungle. Jakey says, "Screw that, I'm playing Lee Sin jungle." So just being able to keep your eyes on this mid jungle is always something that's going to be fun watching this lineup in this game, especially.
Already getting a lot of AD carry bans taken off the board here. So Ezreal's got Viego now targeted. We are seeing some Viego bans here and there. Not many teams willing to pick him up though, even when he does go through. Maybe just not everyone not at a level where they feel comfortable playing him at competitive just yet. It's going to see a Thresh ban, which is good because Monk has played quite a lot of hyper carry type AD carries. Like I think we've seen Jinx and we've seen Ashe from him last week. So I think those two sort of relatively immobile AD carries pair very nicely with Thresh.
Yeah, I do agree. And on the Viego point, it's a head scratcher for me that Viego isn't picked up as often as he is. And yeah, Foxy, I agree with your face. I don't know, depending on blue side, maybe they just don't feel comfortable playing it or first picking it. We'll have to see. But Viego just seems like such a strong champion in competitive settings, even though, he might not necessarily offer the most to a team fight outright. Just the strength of being able to reset on top of reset on top of reset in early game skirmishes and get the snowball going just seems so impressive. And Fnatic are actually going to ban the Kog'Maw away. Very
Monk
interesting.
Monk will carry, dude. Monk will carry.
Yeah. I wonder if this just sets up for a Karma first pick, just because we've seen a lot of it. I don't necessarily always... I'm still on the fence about it. Maybe I'll make up my mind one day, but instead it's actually going to be the Renekton first pick, setting themselves up for a strong solo lane top side.
Yeah, so it probably won't be Lee Sin top lane, because I'm just thinking there's a lot of power picks being taken away here. Like you say, the Karma's probably one of the stronger picks open, but a lot of champions that are just objectively strong have been banned.
Rumble's still up.
Yeah, that's true. Rumble's still available. I think that's definitely going to see some attention. Ezreal's down.
Rumble Lucian is still up. That could be a thing.
Okay.
All right. I see. I'm not really a huge fan of this specifically because I feel like Renekton Rumble is really strong. I just think it's really, really powerful, and you're kind of giving it over. And they both spike at similar times as well, with that kind of really mid game as well. So, but Udyr, obviously, objectively speaking, is very solid as a jungler. So, can't really go too wrong picking him up.
I'm not gonna lie, I think it's also even scarier that they don't take Leona here. Because if you're Galaxy Racers, I feel like Monk's got a deep enough champion pool to kind of just firm 2 more bans. So if I'm Galaxy Racers, I'm looking at this rotation and maybe thinking about, well, okay, they're going to go for Morg, which on this patch, still not as good. I was going to say something like Leona plus Rumble if you want to set up for some of these team fights, but instead going for what I'm assuming is going to end up being the full top side. But Monk is somebody that will take Lucian off of his solo laner's hands to lane it into the bottom side. So that is actually still truly a full flex for Galaxy Racers, and still setting up for strong team fights and skirmishing around the top side if they want to keep those champions up there.
Yeah, it's just interesting to see Morgana over Rumble in this scenario. I guess it's the one that keeps pace better with Udyr in terms of the clear speed, but I thought Rumble would have a relatively decent clear speed anyway, and I always prefer the Rumble-Lucian duo when it comes to their mid lane duo combo. Plus, as you said, Renekton there as well on top of it. You can run with a Leona or a Nautilus for a hard engaged support on top of the Rumble. It felt like that was the clearer cut sort of angle to take, but obviously Galaxy Racer have a plan in mind with going for the Morgana here. We'll see the Senna ban now taken away. Monk and Vendel still not picked up their lane. Obviously there is always the potential chance of a Morgana support, which we haven't seen in donkey's years, but there you go. It's on the table.
I think you're going to look for more scaling from bot side, assuming you don't flex Lucian bot, which I think is very possible, absolutely, especially into a Kai'Sa lane. I think that's actually not too bad at all, and it's Monk. But I think you've already got a lot of that early game, a lot of that kind of you've got a side of the map that you want to play around. If you're Galaxy Racers right here, that's established. And if you can have some more late game insurance or something that can maybe pick up some slack or something you can fall back on in that bot side, I think that will help them out the most.
That's what I'm thinking too. I'm thinking maybe something like the Jinx could be the option here if they are going to slot another AD carry into this composition and leave Lucian in mid lane. And with Orianna, I'm assuming being locked in, you've got more of a reason to kind of leave Lucian mid if you want to have him there. So maybe something like Jinx and an engaged support, Leona, Nautilus. You could even go down the defensive route, but then you open up something like Braum, or even Tahm Kench, but then you leave the option for the Karma, which hasn't been banned away, to just end up in the bottom side and just still have a whole bunch of utility.
On the plus side as well, you don't have to go for a heavy protection support to pair with your carry, because you do have that Morgana in the jungle. So that will benefit you a little bit there in those team fights with that black shield. Tristana, and I'm not saying anything yet, but it's probably going to be a champion.
Gwendol would do, for the record.
Yeah.
It's something Gwendol would do.
I think something like this actually fits, to be perfectly honest. Lacking a little bit in the frontline department, but my goodness, can you support? Okay, yeah, there you go. There you go. You know what? Never mind. Not going to happen. Going to get Norton Stocking instead.
And Braum last pick would be pretty strong here. I think when you've got Udyr, it would really set you up for a whole bunch of skirmishing. You would be a little bit lackluster on the true hard engage, so maybe Leona comes out instead, just as a straight direct match. And I think either of those options for Fnatic really fit well here. And again, Fnatic, they've got a weak-ish / can play towards the Renekton lane with the Gnar if they want to, and Udyr. But specifically, definitely the bottom side of the map is where I'm looking at. You've got Kai'Sa, you've got Leona, you've got Udyr. Even when you've got a Morgana Black Shield there with the Tristana, it's going to be very difficult to sort of stand up to that level of skirmish in the early game.
Yeah, the question that I have for you is what is Morgana providing that Rumble wouldn't have done better? Is it the pick potential alongside the Nautilus, or is it is there something else that I'm missing here? Like maybe the ability to use the ultimate if you do get a dive in from the Kai'Sa and the Gnar. Like what is the Morgana providing that Rumble would not have done for Galaxy Racer at this point?
I wish I could tell you, because I mean, personally for me, I think that Rumble is the stronger jungler on this patch. Just plain and simple. There's nothing more to add to the statement. It fits better, in my opinion, in skirmishing. Now, when you've got Morgana and Renekton in topside, you can obviously get some pretty nasty CC chains off and win up there. And of course, when you're talking about Leona starting off fights with solar flares, then obviously it's a relatively big window to react to in this case. So maybe just thinking about that in sort of a looking into the future type deal. But yeah, I'm not too sure. I'm not saying Morg's a bad champion, but for me, I think Rumble just slots into more comps right now in the jungle.
They have 2 AD carries as well. You get a little bit more support value out of that Morgana pick too.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. And again, like you said, Black Shield important. I mean, I would have felt if it was the Jinx lock-in, I would have been like, okay, you see the value of Black Shield. Tristan's a little different, I suppose. But look, let's hear what Orcs and Hitbrain have to say about these comps. I know they've both been pretty hyped about this matchup, so we'll have to see how it goes down.
Thank you very much, Scoundrel. Hello and welcome to the Caster Desk. Getting ready to go into our 4th game of the day. Over on the UKLC this weekend, we actually did have a Morgana jungle show up. It was only because obviously after the nerfs coming into 11.11, we kind of felt like it was falling off, because last patch and last week when we were on the NLC for 11.10, it was that trifecta. It was the Udyr, it was the Rumble, it was the Morgana. They were the big 3. And Morgana's kind of been forced out. We're still seeing the Udyr hang about and that Rumble. But after seeing a Morgana in the UKLC this weekend, it's clear it's not as bad as you'd think. It's actually still fairly okay. It's not, as speedy as it was. It wasn't as efficient as it was, but it's still close to the jungle okay.
Yeah, I think it was one of those situations where the buffs forced people to play it, but I don't think it was like unplayable before that. No one was playing it, but it wasn't unplayable. It's slightly stronger, like very marginally stronger than it was before the buffs initially.
Yeah.
So it's still playable. It's just, when it got buffed, it became method fighting. It was like one of the best junglers. It was just super broken. You would always want to pick it if the opportunity arises and the comp suited it. Now it's a lot more fringe. It's playable, but clear speed isn't nearly as sort of powerful. It's kind of similar in a vein to like Karthus, where we've had these really strong Karthus metas, where it's now like if someone picked Karthus, like I would think about how it fits into the comp, but it's not really like ingrained in the meta. And so in this situation, like up against Udyr, who's pretty fast at farming, has a lot of early pressure, there is some concerns, but you look at the composition, they have really strong bot lane and mid lane in terms of applying pressure. I think particularly the mid lane's the important one, because I think Udyr is pretty self-sufficient just because he clears so fast and he's so good in skirmishes. I think if Lucian can lend some help towards Jakey, that's where we can see maybe Galaxy Racer find some momentum. And if they get ahead with this composition, they can definitely start to do work.
So just a quick update on what's going on. There has been a little bit of an issue on Featherman's computer. He is quickly sorting out a restart just to fix the issue. Hopefully it won't be too long before we get going into this game. I mean, we were speed running today, as Scoundrel said earlier, so it kind of makes sense that, something would go wrong. He has reconnected on our screens, so shouldn't be too much longer before we get back into this game. And it's going to be an interesting game. One of the things that was hit on the desk was the Morgana does offer a bit of that kind of support ability as well. Maybe the Rumble wouldn't offer. You've obviously got that Black Shield to deal with Leona. Obviously, you can set up with the bindings. That's fairly non-committal for picks and maybe even team fighting. So, it's maybe that's why they opted into it, because they got that double AD carry with a Morgana and Nautilus. They feel like between those two picks, it should just be enough to give them the capability to win these fights. I'm going to be interested to see how this game plays out, because looking online and people's kind of thoughts on this match, normally I'd see everyone just go Fnatic. Fnatic going to take this, but I've actually seen quite a few people arguing that Galaxy Racer, realistically can take it. They've not dropped a game so far. Fnatic, same for them, but they haven't looked infallible. I think that's the fair thing to say about them. They've looked good in their wins, but they haven't looked unstoppable. I think both of our academy teams are definitely looking a little bit weaker than they were last season.
Yeah, there's definitely vulnerabilities. I think things haven't been completely clean sailing, but in fairness, we look back at spring and there were definitely moments where I was watching games and I was like, if Bean wasn't 1v9ing, they lost this.
Yeah.
There was definitely moments like that. I think it's easy to look at the record throughout the split and kind of brush it away, but I think just that there's so many strong rosters who are able to challenge, and I think Galaxy Racer is one of those. So I think Fnatic can't take this one lightly. If they want to maintain their perfect record, they need to give a lot of respect towards Galaxy Racer.
It's going to be an interesting one. Let's talk a little bit about what we expect early then, because we talked a little bit about the cons. We talked about their kind of history, but what are we watching early in this game? How do you think the kind of first 1 to 10 minutes is going to go really?
So I think it really comes down to whether junglers want to prioritize. I think there's a lot of options on both sides, because realistically it needs to come from mid. I think Tibor is going to likely look to apply pressure mid lane, have the support of Jakey that can spread that outwards. And then really, I think bot lane probably is the better lane to look towards. Leona and Kai'Sa both, Leona is obviously melee, Kai'Sa's pretty short range. If they want to trade into the Tristana and Nautilus, they'll end up pushing the wave by default, and they'll end up pushing up in the lane. And that gives a window really easily to set up for a gank. I think top's a bit trickier just because it's a Gnar, and you'd have to bring Tibor if you wanted to go for a 3-man dive. So I expect them to lean towards bot lane in that sense, whereas Maxi kind of has a lot of freedom in this one. I think he can really just find windows to punish Jakey, because when you're going up against the Morgana, you have enough movement speed on Udyr to actually just run around the binding.
Yeah.
And then you can break the Black Shield with Phoenix damage, and then you can look to stun her. And it's actually a pretty rough. Obviously, prior to this, you had Morgana, which just clear the entire jungle in a split second, so it didn't really matter. But if Jakey gets set behind, you will fall behind and farm, which wasn't the case before.
Well, it looks like the issue has been resolved, so luckily we should be getting back into the game.
Resolve was last game.
It's been Galaxy Raced. That doesn't work.
Especially since it was Fnatic as well.
It doesn't work either way. Yes, pause is ending. Thank God. We were just about to throw to a break as well, so that was good timing actually from Fnatic. We almost got a little bit baited there, but it does look like everything has been resolved. Featherman's, I believe it was a mic issue, has been sorted out, and we'll be getting onto the Rift. Like I said, keep our eyes on these junglers early. That's kind of where we're expecting to see the action break down. And again, I feel like Galaxy Racer do have the ability to set themselves up for lane priority, especially through that mid lane, just because it is a Lucian. It's very few picks that actually do handle that Lucian pretty well in the lane. So that's kind of where I'm going to be keeping my eyes. There's a pause.
Yeah, I think out of all the picks, Orianna is one of the one who sort of holds up reasonably well, just because obviously you have a lot of trading power on the AD levels and you can sort of match the Lucian, but the Lucian can apply a lot of pressure. And I want to see that. I want to see Tibor challenging the 1v1 matchup, trying to put some hurt down on Featherman. I've seen solo kills in the matchup quite a few times before, so potentially looking for that. And then it allows Jakey to play that more supportive role, because I think the onus is really on Jakey to make sure the matchup's good. Whereas if Maxi just does his clear with lightning speed with Udyr, he can just easily start to impact the map. And the thing is, if they do navigate the AD game well, I can see Galaxy Racer really starting to find momentum, just because, Lucian and Tristana are so good, not just in terms of the damage output, but actually at finding picks. You can just navigate around. Morgana connects the binding. Both of them, or one of them, or whoever's there, can just jump in, blow up a target. And if those two start to get fed, it becomes difficult for a composition like Fnatic's to deal with, especially when I think of what's the best answer to these two champions. It's obviously CC. You have a Black Shield to negate that, and it sort of puts them in a good stead.
For me as well, it's one of the things what I really want to be tracking is Featherton, because I don't think his first split in the NLC was really that impressive. You know, it's a very storied player, kind of making his return back to Europe, and you know, didn't make it out of the play-in stages of the European Masters. Had, I'd say, honestly, a shaky performance during last split. And, you know, kind of towards the end, it did feel like he was starting to ramp up. And, you know, we've seen 2 games from him since then. And I think their first game was actually pretty good from both of them. But, like, I really have really high expectations for this player. So I think, you know, Febby's got a lot to prove this split. So he's in a rough lane matchup. We'll see exactly how he's going to be able to handle that out.
I mean, yeah, there was good plays. And I think that's the thing is that, like, if you compare his play to other players, obviously, you know, he didn't look terrible. It's just the thing is when you're on Fnatic, expectations are sky high. When you're Forbidden, they're mountainous. It's just like you have so much to live up to, and any mistake is going to just be absolutely crucified. Whereas we look at other players, you know, potentially rookies, potentially ones making their debut with less experience, and you know, we look at the mistakes and go, yeah, it happens. But I think we've weighed heavily on Featherton and been very critical because he has the expectations, and I'm sure as a player he has those same for himself. So obviously, losing to XL was a big deal for the organization because it was the first time it happened ever within the sort of NLC or the UKLC. Every time it's been Fnatic on top. They've been really strong performers in the EU Masters and have always either been, you know, the best performer for the NLC or UKLC, or at least tied with that role in regards to how deep they ran. And in this situation, it's not even close. Getting knocked out pretty early on.
I feel like this would be something the whole Fnatic squad would be kicking themselves about as well. Unfortunately, you know, they didn't keep the legacy of this team in this league going, and you know, they then kind of failed. I think that's the only way to really word it. They did fail at EU Masters. Not making it out of the play-ins was, you know, I mean, play-ins was pretty stacked. There were a fair few good.
I mean, EU Masters was pretty stacked. Let's be honest.
EU Masters was stacked, but
NLC was pretty stacked. Let's be honest.
I mean, NLC is stacked. We have second place from EU Masters, man. Like, it's of course it's stacked. It does look like our pause has ended again.
Yes,
I'm
and
gonna
that's where I'd
hold
put
my
my
breath.
third slot if we had one.
We've had no news on that, by the way, guys. So if you're waiting for an update, we're also waiting for that update. So hopefully we'll find out fairly soon. But it does look like this issue has been resolved. We are finally onto the Rift. Thank you for bearing with us.
I heard a rumor we're getting 17 slots. We'll actually have more slots than teams. So some of the teams will be playing in 2 different slots within the tournament. It's a pretty bold decision, but, you know, understandable.
Might have to whip out Nord in black and white again.
Yeah, why not? Oh, do you remember back in the day when, like, I mean, especially in Korea where they used to have sister teams?
Yeah.
Now, what a throwback. When they used to be like
Well,
the different...
it was Samsung white and Samsung blue, right?
Yeah, and there was...
No, it was white and blue. It was white and blue back in the day.
SKTS and SKTK, was it?
I think so.
It was so long.
That is a blast from the past, that is.
And there was KC Rolster Bullets. Was it KT Rolster Arrows? I believe so.
I can't remember. I actually can't remember that one.
Man,
wow.
Crazy times. Honestly.
Let's get back in time then. What like UK teams do you remember? I know we're now combined with the Nordics, but I'm not going to be able to remember any old Nordic teams.
Choke.
Choke was a big one. Yeah, I remember Choke.
Oh, it was like Mana something.
Oh,
Mana Light.
Yes. Was that? I think that was it.
With Larson and stuff.
Yeah.
So we sound like absolute grandpas, by the way.
I remember watching Choke play. I think it was they were playing Eminem at MCM Comic Con. Like that was years ago.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Is like we talk about Eminem now, and they've obviously been relegated, but there was a time where they were the dominant team, and they won the UK scene 3 times back to back. Wild times.
Were they halted by you, or was that a few seasons before?
Actually, I think they might have been.
I believe that. I think it was you back in the day.
Me personally, definitely not. But yeah, I single-handedly held them back. Didn't actually get knocked out by us though. It was Singularity who knocked them out.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, because you reversed.
That's actually an interesting one. Singularity was playing in the UK scene at that time. Obviously now are in the NLC, but representing the Nordics.
All right, well, let's focus more on this game, more from the past. There's kind of the expected was seen. You can see Febiven heavily chunked out by Tibber in the mid lane. We saw an early trade as he did get that level priority and just basically won the trade. Fnatic are shoving the wave into the face of Monk and Wendell.
You know, the Morgana's been doing pretty all right, all things considered. The Udyr slightly ahead, but obviously has skipped the Krugs. So even with a nerf, player speed's decent, just not as impressive as it once was.
Yeah,
but both
honestly,
junglers in the right position.
Honestly, I don't think the Morgana clear is as bad as I think a lot of people think it is.
That's the thing. It's like, I remember the balance team talking about one time where they were like, they would buff something on a champion that was like really irrelevant. And then people would like start playing it and the win rate would shoot up by like a ridiculous amount. And it's like, you know, maybe just the champ was already all right, but people wouldn't play it.
This is risky here by Jakey. Is able at least to take away one of the little ones, but that is going to be it. Nice little binding on the way out, just to stop Pride from even thinking about contesting.
So a window. I don't think really Jakey loses anything here because, you know, his camps are spawning on the side of the map. He didn't have anything to do, and he's put some vision down. He's seen exactly where Maxi is, provides some cover for Khan, and now he can reset and head towards the bot side. So not much lost, even if it wasn't much gained.
Oh, Wendell looking for the hook, not going to be able to find it. Monk jumped
Monk?
into the
What?
face of Bean. Monk, that was a Monk play if ever I've seen one. They slide straight onto the back line. He's ignited. Bean's low. Wendell chasing Bean.
Bro.
Bean's on the run. Can Wendell find it? No! First blood to Bean.
I have no words, honestly.
That was the most Monk play.
I love how we've hyped up this game. Okay, let's... Yeah, okay. Monk doesn't connect, and Monk just jumps into melee range of a Leona, and obviously regrets that decision, but does get the reset on the bomb to jump out, and then Wendell flashes for the auto, doesn't connect, and then just tanks 4 tower hits and dies.
I mean, that was a horror story. And the worst thing is, I genuinely think if Wendell didn't tower dive, even if he was in between Leona and Kaiser, he would have lived. Because there's no way Bean.
I mean, obviously, he was full HP. He's a noob.
There's no way.
Fine. He just... I don't know, man. Really. And now you gave 400 gold to Bean. Bean's picked up a noon quiver.
I love the pain in your voice right now. And Wendell might
I'm
be feeling a
visibly
bit of
upset.
pain himself.
You can't see me right now, but I am visibly upset.
There's tears. Kagan's going to jump into Pride's face. Pride is at 6, so he just says, nope, get away.
Oh, that's a lot of damage.
That is a lot of damage, actually. If that wallop hit, I think he might have been in trouble.
How broken is Mega now?
You said this about Anivia last game, actually.
How broken are all these League of Legends champions?
Oh, hold on. They've got Bean.
Oh.
They've got a teleport. Bean's chunked. No Ignite available, but the teleport's coming in. Maxi's going to come forward as Tibber looks to jump on the Rux. Rux is low HP. The pop will be enough, and Tibber able to secure the kill. Bebby's now stepping forward. He's got a shockwave available, but he's not going to pull the trigger quite yet. Fnatic maybe biting off a little bit too much there.
Yeah, and Tibber are doing a great job to turn a Monk int into a favorable play, just with that TP. Because I really was questioning everything at that point, but Monk does just manage to survive on the back of that one. And Tibber picking up a kill on that Lucian, can't complain. Gets the reset, head towards mid, and so far things are pretty even overall. But obviously we're looking to see Tibber applying pressure in the mid lane and still looking for him to continue to do so. So far it's been definitely positive though.
Yeah, definitely has. Has got himself a Noon Quiver finished up as Pride goes to base. Just stocks up on a little bit of resources here and there. Kind of keeping our eye on these level 6s for these bot lanes because we might see things get pretty explosive. There's a lot of CC, a lot of mobility in this bot lane. It could get juicy down there. Or Monk could just rocket jump into Leona's face again. It's one of the two.
Yeah. That's the thing, right? Here's the big brain thing. If you stay at range from Leona, there's a chance you get hit by the Zenith Blade.
True.
If you rocket jump into melee range, you 100% know you're going to get stunned. So at least you're dealing with like certainties rather than chances.
I mean, technically she could Zenith Blade you in melee.
True, but like, you know 100% you're gonna get Zenith Blade. You know, you're gonna stun a Zenith Blade. But like, if you're at range, there's a chance you get caught out by one. If you're in melee range, you know what you're dealing with. Monk committed to that. He jumped straight in and was like, yeah, I'm getting stunned. And I'm okay with that.
Dragon is up, and Nivea team's actually gone for it. Typically, our games have been a lot more fast-paced in the Dragon department. But looks like Nivea team really prioritizing that right now. I think a lot of this action in the bot lane might be kind of why there was that teleport earlier. Rux and Wendell will see each other, but I don't think we're going to get any supportal combat, as Monk wasn't really in range to back Wendell up.
This is a bad wave spot, though. They don't have vision in the river. It's really pushed up. They should just go.
Monk's trying to run away. They don't have that solar flare, but they're going to flash. They're going to bear slap. They're going to kill Wendell. Bean secures himself his second kill of the game. Meanwhile, Galaxy Racer will take themselves a Rift Herald. So Dragon for Rift Herald and a kill. Fnatic technically trading up. At least Galaxy Racer will... Oh, no.
All right. Okay. Wendell, flash did just come up, so it's actually really good timing for Fnatic to go for that play when the flash was down.
True.
Like 15 seconds later, they wouldn't have been able to get that. It would have just been a flash out. And now, Jakey.
Ooh, that was low for Jakey.
Oh, I'm confused, honestly, this game. Some wacky things going on here. I think the pause has done something to everyone's brains.
Something to mind.
Yeah, just some questionable plays. But, you know, we have the Herald from Jakey coming out, so obviously going to apply that pressure. I've said this every game so far, but I think mid lane's a pretty good spot to put it. But realistically, there's options, you know? Jakey is looking like he wants to potentially lean on a top lane. But I think he's just giving some pressure to Kakan so he can go for a reset.
Yeah, Maxi's also coming over to make sure Pride is going to be safe here. It wouldn't be an awful idea to give the Renekton a bit more gold, kind of funnel some gold into him. You don't really want him just kind of fading away in the background, not being able to achieve too much. But for now, like I said, just helping them get their resets. Rux is doing the same actually here for Feathervin, who is a little in the mana department, suffering right now. Should be almost at a lost chapter, so he just wants to get back to base and finish that up. Solar Flare is now available to Rux, so maybe once again we'll see some action break out in this bottom lane. Bean got an extra longsword over Monk, so does have technically a little bit more stats to work with.
And boots as well.
And
Don't
boots.
underrate movement speed.
He's a speedy boy, and he's actually got a pot.
Refillable.
Well, yeah, it's a pot.
Pretty slow, though. I mean, honestly, I don't think it's that big of a deal, but because I think both teams have pretty solid scaling options in the latest stage of the game. It really comes down to execution in a team fight. Because I feel like with Fnatic Rising, whenever you have like a Kai'Sa, you have like a Orianna Shockwave, being able to get some backline access on the back of that and go for strong engages is great. But I think both teams have options to go for more aggressive dives. It really comes to who's the pace setter in these situations.
Oh, Pride's in trouble, dodges the binding. Beautifully played by him, about to gnar out. Not even going to get an opportunity. Yakey will take him out. This
I
may
thought he was
just
going
be
to hit
that
Mega,
Rift
but
Herald.
yeah, the ult. Oh, come on. Yeah, I really thought he was going to be able to hit Mega there, but the ult just did so much damage to finish him off. Obviously, doesn't have any MR in his runes because you're going up against a Renekton, and the magic pen from the Sork Shoes coming in pretty huge. Now, I like looking here.
Yeah, they are looking. Bean just slides straight in with a killer instinct. Wendell low, and Bean's going to flash forward to secure that kill. A third one onto the AD carry. The Rift Herald's going to do a lot of damage to his top lane tower, though, and that will just be the end of the first turret.
And actually, mid lane, Feathervin nearly solo killed T-War. You actually look at his health. He also flashed, by the way, so Feathervin very nearly actually getting a solo kill in this matchup. And we said this should be Lucian favored.
It was in the first couple of levels, but it looks like Febby now starting to fire back. Hasn't even got like a Seeker's Arm Guard or anything, so not even really working with the extra resistances. Going to take himself back to base. Tibble will hit his Mythic first, just due to the fact that Febby did diverge 400 gold towards that tier of the Goddess.
And also has Sork Shoes.
And has Sork Shoes, yep. Totally missed that.
A lot of expenses. They all add up, Jake. Yeah, I think right now, being 3-0 on the Kai'Sa is pretty significant. It just feels like Galaxy Race a little bit disrespectful on the bot side, as we've seen quite consistently this game so far. With Wendell getting caught out there kind of unnecessarily. And now Bean is in a prime position potentially to be a big carry in this game, because if you have a scenario where Tristana can't jump in because you'll get solo killed by the Kai'Sa, it just really doesn't bode well for the later stages, because similarly, again, this isn't the most long-range composition from Galaxy Racer. They definitely have some decent mid-range champions, but Kai'Sa can handle this one well, and obviously has a bit of shielding from the Orianna on top of that.
And we see the Kraken Slayer's now finished up for T-Ball. Curious to see where everyone else is at this point. Bean obviously probably diverging a little bit as Febby dodges out on the hook and that binding as well, so he's going to be nice and safe. As yeah, Kraken Slayer's finished up on the Bean, so he's got a complete item. It was actually a Gale Force, sorry, for T-Ball, not the Kraken.
I like the more aggression that you can sort of put down on that. Allows you to play forwards. And again, Lucian does enough damage to kill squishy targets, and the Gale Force helps with that burst compared to the likes of a Kraken, which obviously has that more sustained damage. I think a lot of these later game team fights are going to be dictated by who kills whose carries. And speaking of killing carries,
well, they're just going in. They've got the backup. The teleports are coming in, and Fnatic are looking for this fight. Wendell's going to land the depth charge onto Bean, but this should just be enough for him to secure it anyway. 4-0 on the Kai'Sa. Fnatic Rising looking absolutely dominant right now, as actually they just go in for the Gnar onto the back, and that's going to be another kill already. Jakey can go golden all he likes, but Pride will get some revenge for these earlier ganks. Now, Featherman eating a lot of culling. His health bar is being shaved down, and Tibber Gale forces to secure that kill. Fnatic may chase for a little bit more. Maxi gets the chilling smite, waiting for the bear stance, waiting for the stuns, waiting for the lockdown. They slide in. The stopwatch is used.
God,
Tibber is all alone, all isolated. Pride will come forward, and that is the shutdown for Bean. Fnatic Rising have just got him so fed.
just an absolute crushing victory. And Bean, as you said, so strong right now, able to clean up so many of those kills. And honestly, Galaxy Racer just felt so disjointed there. You could see initially they wanted to bait the play here, but Fnatic were more prepared. They had the TP coming in. Instantly, Jakey knows he has to back away from the Udi in the situation with Nori on a backup, and they just very quickly take out the Nautilus. Isn't really much of a response, but then this follow-up play is just so split. And you actually see Jakey doesn't get the ult off before stopwatching, so very little value actually achieved from this. It's just going to go down. And then on the other side, although this is a really subtle play from T-Ball to pick up this kill on the Featherman, you shouldn't be committing further here, because you know Monk is going to be in a position to support. It's a 4v2. There's no way you're winning this. And like, even if Rux didn't have stopwatch and died there, you're not winning this fight.
No, you're not. 15 minutes into the game, and there is 2 items on Bean. He's got the Phantom Dancer, he's got the Kraken Slayer. That is well and truly a terrifying Kai'Sa to deal with. Got the Frostfire Gauntlet as well, finished up onto Maxi, Stride Breaker onto Pride. Items are coming in for the members of Fnatic, as Kakan will find Rux. He's got Febby zooming over. The Predator's being used by Jakey. He's trying to get close enough. They're looking for a lockdown as Rux able to dodge away on the binding. And now Bean may just take this opportunity to slide in and start getting some kills. A shockwave into the solar flare. Bean gets 1 kill. Now they're going to get another. Tibber taken out by Forviven. And here comes Pride. Fnatic just mopping up free, making it look easy, as Galaxy Racer are just sent back to their towers, back to safety.
And it just didn't feel like a good place for Galaxy Racer to be. They're looking for a Leona for a pick, and that's just never going to be a good idea. Very easy for Fnatic Rising to turn around. Even if the binding are connected from Jakey, there's just no way you're winning that one. And again, this Kai'Sa is ridiculously strong at this point. You just cannot deal with Bean unless you're just initially finding a pick on a Bean. If you're connecting with the binding to start the fight on Bean, great. That's where you'll actually find a win. If it's anyone else, the Kai'Sa will just clean up and decimate you.
I mean, this tower was full health. And in one wave, Bean is going to cut it down, extend the gold lead even further. Fnatic find their first tower of the game. And they are 3,000 gold up right now. Bean's going back to base of 1,500 gold. I mean, just look at the 80 carry gold difference. It's 3,100 gold separating Monk and Bean.
Yeah, it's not looking optimal, in all honesty, right now for Galaxy Racer. We'll get a bit of a replay.
Yeah, let's have a look at this.
But it's like, you're going for Leona here. You've got to expect, you already know the Orianna's there, and you know that the Udi is there. Even if that binding connects, it just doesn't mean anything. Khan is basically almost dead at the start. The Shockwave Solar Flare combo is really nice, but I just don't know why you're committing to that. Now, ooh,
Back into the action. Bean slides forwards. Monk is low HP. Maxi secures the kill. Under the tower they go. And it's just a quick double kill in that mid wave as the Herald will get summoned. They may be able to kill this before the charge even comes down. And this could be a really scary charge for the side of Galaxy Racer. They don't have any wave clear set up. And Herald, there we go. Shelly got stuck on the tower for a little bit, but here comes the charge. And Bop, the second tower, will go low.
And honestly, it was actually a nice play in that fight by Monk. He actually buffered the Gnarl with his W, but it just doesn't matter. You have so many people diving, so much damage, and Kakan, you lose this.
Yeah, Kakan, you do not win this. There's no Gnar available to Pride, but he's happy to take this. He's got his jungler coming up. And the Dominus is just about to time out for Kakan. Chilling Smite and the Boulder Toss, just able to dodge that, but Kakan actually getting away with this for now, but I don't think you can outrun an Udyr who's going to Phoenix stance you down.
Not much you can do, but wasn't even winning the 1v1. The fact that Pride didn't have his ult, it was actually coming up in about 5 seconds, is the only reason that Kakan didn't die instantly on the back of that one. But just able to be chased down. At this point, Galaxy Racer kind of fallen apart. They're 5,000 gold down in this game. You see Third Dragon spawning in 45 seconds, and I don't really think you contest this one. I think it's just gone. But they are looking like they want to, so...
They got the vision
some sort of miracle.
The one thing they can work with. Rux is going to eat the depth charge. It's not Bean. That's not the target. Rux jumps onto the backline. Great Black Shield. Here's the teleport coming in, though. Can they kill Kakan? He's already chunked. Maxi will lose his life, and the shutdown's picked up by Tibber. He's now looking for Rux. Watch for the shockwave. The stun over the wall. It's a double kill. The shockwave lands on the 2. That's Gnar! Slamming everyone down. Pride mopping up the fight as Fnatic take out Free in the blink of an eye. Wendell will hook Bean, but Bean will take Wendell down. It's a double kill for the Kai'Sa, and only the Crocodile stands.
And it started to look favorable for Galaxy Racer at the start of that, and they should have just cut and run, take the advantage and back away, but they funnel into the choke.
Oh, Bean.
Yep.
Oh my lord, that was unholy.
Yeah, I mean, you funnel into the choke against an Orianna. Pride comes in with a perfect flank, and again, Bean is untouched. Get a replay of this one. So ult's not even onto Bean. I mean, Bean repositioned behind the wall, but regardless, Bean is completely safe. The TP flank starts to come in, and that's why Fnatic retreat to a degree. Maxi's dead, and I feel like you should back off at this point. You know Pride's coming for the flank, or at least you should be aware, but instead they overchase. Both of the backliners get caught in that Shockwave ultimate combo, and as soon as 3 members go down instantly, you know the fight is lost.
Wait. No, okay. They're not doing that. I genuinely thought Galaxy Racer were about to do Baron there. Fnatic will be finishing up their 3rd dragon, as they didn't take it until now. There's Febby. I mean, he's got a lot of damage here. That ball is just enough to force him to go the long way around.
Who's your money on? The 0-6 Nautilus or the 3-1 Orianna?
I think I'll go with the 0-6 Nautilus, mate.
Not a smart bet, but at least the odds will be good.
Exactly. You got to make the risky bets. You got to make the risky bets.
And that's the thing, like, genuinely at this point, you're so far behind as Galaxy Racer. I actually think going for, like, crazy coin flip plays is a good play. Because the thing with the coin flip is there's a 50-50 chance. So
the coin's slightly weighted in this case.
Pretty heavily weighted, but I think if you see a window to go for a really aggressive engage onto a lone member, it might just be the play. It kind of feels like that's what Galaxy Racer are going for. They know they're not in a good situation, and they are feeling desperate.
Oh, Jakey gonna lose half his health. They've used the depth charge. They're looking for the kill, but Bean is untouched for the moment. Tibet culling as Maxi eats it all. Pride goes in for the Gnar, unable to get it as Bean secures the first kill of the fight. Tibet's Black Shield will now time out. No Gnar available to Pride. There's the solar flare onto a couple of members. Monk's going in versus Bean, and Bean's just gonna annihilate his health bar. Kakan's trying to sustain for as much as possible as Maxi will lose his life. Jakey able to take him down. Tibet kiting away for the moment as he is getting a bit of damage off. There's the snipe from Bean with the Void Seeker now hunting for Jakey. The Acapian Rain is cutting through the health bar. Febby's on a rampage as Tibber will lose his life, and Jakey will be next up for Bean to take out. The binding doesn't matter, as it's just going to be a recall coming out from the Crocodile. Rux might be able to stop him here with a cheeky Zenith Blade. He's found him. Febby's got the kill.
TP'd back in just to finish him off. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much a whitewash. They did take out Maxi, but I mean, I know I said that they're at this desperate point where they have to try and look for a crazy play. That was not it. I mean, we can see at the start, Wendell, I'm not really sure what the game plan was here. There's an Nara about to hit Mega. There's no way they can follow you up on this one. And although they do manage to disengage, it's like you've just lost one member essentially for free. Fnatic aren't willing to let this fight go because obviously they feel strong. They're significantly far ahead. And you actually see Monk goes for this 1v1 of Bean and just gets absolutely demolished. And then, yeah, Wendell's dead.
Wendell is apparently going for double digits on the deaths this game as he will lose his life. Febby secures the kill. Febby dodges out in the binding as well, luckily. It's 24 kills in 23 minutes for Fnatic Rising.
I can safely say that Wendell is not a KDA player.
Yep.
And now Baron is going super fast. It's basically just gone already.
I mean, that's a free item Kai'Sa at 23 minutes. This Baron is cut down. Rux lands the binding, and Pride is looking for Jakey. The Black Shield's already popped. He nars him back, and Bean comes in, looking to mop up. Only able to get a bit of damage onto Monk and Jakey as Monk's forced to flash, and Bean continues the hunt. The Void Seeker's about to come off cooldown, and Bean is legendary. There's another kill for Fnatic as well. They take out Tibber, and the 2 AD carries, the 2 damage dealers for this team are dead. And Fnatic were 13-0-7 Kai'Sa. We'll be looking just to take this inhibitor. Bean having a dance.
And, you know, it's not even looking close at all. I mean, Fnatic are just so far ahead in this one. It really makes you question the lone analyst who did vote for Galaxy Racer in this game.
Tell me, Orcs, who was that?
I don't know. I'll have to see the predictions again.
I think it was Foxtrot, right? Probably.
Must have been. Foxtrot always goes for the wacky predictions. And God, you must feel real wacky on the back of this one. Imagine down Fnatic in the situation and Galaxy Racer gonna try here.
Pride slams them back, and there's the solar flare. There's Pride's kill. Jakey's trying to get the kill onto Febby, but he's not able to connect it as Kakan flashes forward. Febberman survives as Bean gets himself a double kill. It's a double kill for Pride as well. Monk will fall to the Acapian Rain. A triple kill for Bean. And the base is going to be the prize. This game has been a bloodbath. 25 minutes with 31 kills. A gigantic gold lead. And an absolutely stellar performance by Fnatic Rising.
And with that, they are the only undefeated team left in their group and sending the message without a doubt that they are definitely the front runners above the rest.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, just a really, really stellar game there from Fnatic Rising. And, you know, Galaxy Racer, they looked so good in week 1. We had some really good performances from them. They were 2-0. And they beat out some pretty stiff competition, but Fnatic, they just proved a task a little bit too tall for them now. So Galaxy Racer probably going to have to go back to the drawing board before they play Fnatic again.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously gives them a window to look at how can we improve. They are going to get another chance to play Fnatic, but this was just so one-sided. And there were honestly a lot of mistakes. This wasn't like, you know, Fnatic playing the just unstoppable League of Legends that you can't even match up against. I'm not saying Fnatic didn't play good. They absolutely did. But I think Galaxy Racer have a lot of their own play they can look at because there were so many unforced errors, so many times where people were just getting caught out, mistakes being made, questionable decisions. This doesn't even feel like the Galaxy Racer we saw last week. This feels like significantly worse. And obviously the opposition was strong as well. So still a lot to work on for this roster.
Alrighty, well, it's time for us to take a quick break. It's pretty warm, so make sure you grab a glass of water. Stay hydrated, friends. See you in a moment.